Hello and welcome to Dirty Old Chopper. This is my Honda CB750 chopper. It's dirty and horrible. I kind of set myself a mission to buy the cheapest, worst chopper in the UK, and I've definitely succeeded. This was just over £1,000. If you're in America, that's going to sound really expensive. But in the UK, certainly motorbikes are less common, so they're certainly a little bit dearer. And this may not have been the best deal, but based on what I could find, looking on eBay, through contacts, through Marketplace, looking everywhere I could, I came across this. And it was in a reasonable distance from my house, which is it was in London, and I'm south of London by about 50 miles, so it was a morning's round trip to pick it up. It's on a Nova, so it's been imported. It has never been UK registered. It's only been in the country a few months. The background is a little bit sketchy as to where it came from and why. There's some pretty horrible bits about it. Obviously, all this red is disgusting. Some of this plate is not too bad. It's not great, but you can see this is all a bit bent, which is my fault, because when I went down to pick it up, I took my wife's car and not a van, because I'm an idiot. I shouldn't have taken a car. I should have taken a van. So I had to take the front springer off to get it into the car, which was a mistake. And I'll tell you why it was a mistake. Because, unfortunately, on the springer at the bottom, there's some bushing, bearing, I'm not quite sure the right words for it. There's these things which pivot, which allow the springer to work, and there's a bushing in there, which is this one. One of those was missing when I got it home. I don't know why it was missing or how, but it wasn't there. I phoned the bloke up, and he actually said he hoovered the grass and couldn't find it where we looked for it. It's like, okay. So either way, I'm getting these made. I was going to make them on my own lathe, but I'm not quite sure I can get the tolerances close enough. So my friend Phil has a mate called Dave who's going to try and make me a couple of those bushings or bearings or whatever they are. I've replaced the bolts with some newer bolts. These ones are like 40 years old. So when I do eventually put the front end back together, we'll have new bearing bushing things in the front, and we'll have new bolts. I need to go over the entire bike and work out what's going on. There's some peculiarities to it, because the front wheel doesn't have a speedo drive on it, which is a pain. There is a brake, but there is no speedo drive. But the guy did give me a speedo drive hub, but I've got no idea how that will work, because the dog gear is missing. So it's all a bit. So I may decide that I'm going to scrap this wheel and get a better one. I maybe have a disc at the front. Whether I want these knobbly tyres is another thing, really. I guess we'll see how that goes. But yeah, the absolute comedy seat will definitely be going. And I do have at the moment a spare seat over there I've got a Road King Police. Beyond the Road King Police, I do have a spare seat sitting in there that I'm going to put on it that's not anywhere near as offensive as this one. So what I'm doing at the moment is I've just been looking at the oil, and this does share oil between the engine and the gearbox, and the oil is pretty disgusting, so I need to change the oil. But ideally I want to make sure that there's enough oil in there, but because I've got it up on this stand, because the front wheel's not on, I can't really get to that. So at the moment I'm just doing all the prep work to try and work out what the spark plugs are, and get some oil, get a filter. Do I need to flush it? Possibly, because it's quite disgusting. What I did find straight away, so when I bought it, the guy said, oh yeah, it runs fine. And he could barely get it running. It wouldn't really run, it kind of crapped out. But I found that the choke was seized, and I've now unseized the choke so we can turn the choke on and off. The tank is over there, and it's got a massive dent in it. See that huge dent in that tank? Great big dent. So I can either use that one, or I can get one from the Auto Jumble, which I'll talk about in the next episode. So there we go. This is part one of my dirty old chopper, CB750. See if I can get things going and start looking at what needs to be done.